Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, chases thieves just like fire. Or no, catches thieves. See, I already messed it up, man.
All right,
welcome.
Watch it. We might get hit with a copyright.
Oh, gosh, right? Welcome, everybody, to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. We are so excited to have you here today. As you can tell, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man. I am your host, Stephen Boster, along with my illustrious cohort, Mr. Michael Shank. Say hey to everybody, Mr. Mike.
Good morning, all you geeks out there in geekdom land.
Hey, we are talking... we're doing a virtual coffee table today on Spider-Man, and here are the rules. Here's how it goes.
We have rules?
I know, right?
I didn't know we had. There are no rules.
There are no rules. We are just saying, Spider-Man, go. That's what we're doing today. We are going to talk movies, comics, TV shows, cartoons, whatever about Spider-Man that we want to talk about or that we want to share or whatever comes to mind. Again, we just kind of go organic on this. Or do we call it organic or do we just call it ADD?
Is there a difference?
Right?
Look, squirrel.
Squirrel. Well, we are so excited that you are joining us today. Thank you, everybody. Again, if this is your first time catching one of our podcasts, it's just a special welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. We're just two buds since high school that have kept in contact, and what has kept us connected has been all things geekdom. We live in different states, and but this is what we do, stay connected, because we used to do it just on the phone, and then one day Mike was like, why don't we just do this as a podcast? And this is what we're doing. And so we're having a great time. We've got great guests on the show. Please look at our playlist at all the different folks that we've had with us. It's just been a blast, and it's been exciting, and we're growing. And we just thank you so much for joining us today.
And we got some more guests coming up, too.
I know.
We got some surprises coming up. I'm excited.
I know. I wish we could say who else is coming. Normally, if you catch the podcast, we do a preview the Saturday before to let you know who's coming. But we try to be careful how far out, because sometimes we have to reschedule.
Right. I do have a rule. Speaking of rules, I do have a rule. I do not announce a guest until we've recorded with them. I don't like to do that in case we have to reschedule or something, or just something just falls through and for some reason the guest can't be with us. I'd rather not get people's hopes up and stuff. So once we've recorded with them, then I can say for sure. But I can tell you we've got some people on board that I'm pretty excited about, and I think our listeners are going to be excited too.
Yep. And hint, maybe some returning guests. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Which is really good. Yep. All right. So if you have not seen our website is 2 geeksmic.com. 2 GEEKSMIC.com. Now that is our hub for everything. So if you want to check out our Facebook page, you can get to it from there. If you want to check out our merch, you can get it from there. And if you want to check out the Podbean location, it is there as well. But that's where all things are kind of the hub for that. Also, a link to our Ko-fi page. Ko-fi is kind of like Patreon, but we like it better because it's a little cheaper. All you have to do is if you buy us a coffee, which is right now $2, that's all. you can get access to all kinds of extra stuff for the whole month.
I was going to lift up my coffee mug, but I forgot I got my Zevia instead of my coffee this time.
I got my coffee mug. My coffee mug is up.
There we go.
So here we go. Except a soda can fits really nice right in there.
Steven doesn't drink coffee.
I don't.
I do.
All right.
Oh, you just gave away part of the illusion, man.
I did, by golly.
I mean, our whole theme is around the coffee table and
a virtual coffee table, right? Yep.
That's okay.
Well, yeah. Well, we have a good time, and we thank you so much for joining us. And so, with that, as we stated, here we go. Spider-Man Go.
Now, we've given a lot of love to DC in the past, so I thought we'd cross over and give Marvel some love since we don't seem to be doing that very much. And you know what? I love me some Marvel too. I'm a bigger DC fan than I am Marvel. But let's face it, I got some favorite characters in Marvel, and Spider-Man is one of the tops. I've always liked Spider-Man. He's such a fun character. I love how he's kind of this. I know we get introduced to him as a teenager, so we get the teenage angst a little bit. We get the awkwardness. A lot of those things that all of us have been through as kids and such. So I think that's one of the reasons I like him. He's sort of relatable in a way, other than the fact that I can't climb walls and shoot webs out of my wrist. But well, actually, that's an aspect of Spider-Man that goes back and forth in the comic books that we should talk about is the web shooting and such, because there are certain things that I don't like about the natural.
Well, in the films, it was Tobey Maguire. That season was coming out of him,
right?
Kind of a thing. Whereas I always went with it was the mechanical devices that he was creating.
Yeah, actually, I prefer that because I think that shows the intelligence of Peter Parker and his creative side. Because he didn't have that
scientific, practical application ability.
Yes. I really, really enjoy that aspect of that version of the character. And Tobey Maguire, I know today a lot of people, man, I don't get it. A lot of people hate on the Tobey Maguire series. And I don't get it because I like that series. I liked it. I mean, okay, 3 has its problems, which really disappointed me because,
there I'm doing the dance.
Got the dancing.
Seeing the video.
Okay, yeah, that's cringy. That's very cringy.
Wait, the dance or my interpretation of that dance?
Yeah. Moving on.
Right.
Let's face it, you will not be going on the show with Dancing with the Stars anytime soon.
Dancing with the Stars, right?
Steven will not be on Dancing with the Stars, and I definitely won't be on Dancing. I would trip. No. Anyway, that's oh wow. You got me so thrown off now. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh,
we're talking about Tobey Maguire. Why people hate it. But I the first 2 are great.
Yeah,
the first 2 are good.
In fact, I love
right.
I believe so. I believe that's correct.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I love Doc Ock in the second one. I thought he was great.
He's fabulous.
Yeah, such a good character, and I thought he looked the part. That's the thing about the Tobey Maguire series. Everybody looks like they walked off the comic book. Well, maybe not the Green Goblin. Green Goblin, there was.
I don't know. You mean his suit and stuff?
Yeah.
I thought he made a great Osborn.
Yeah. Oh no,
Osborn.
I'm not saying he was bad or
anything. That was what's his name? I can't think of it all of a sudden. William Dafoe.
Yeah, William Dafoe, who was in Aquaman now.
He is an Aquaman, right?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
He's crossed the streams.
He did. He crossed. He went from Marvel to DC.
Right.
But that's okay. That's okay.
No, Doc Ock.
I thought he was good. I just the look.
You're talking about Osborn.
Yeah,
you're talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought he played a great Osborn, but I just didn't feel his look as the Green Goblin was. It just wasn't my favorite look. But you look at Spider-Man, you look at Aunt May. I mean,
Aunt May was great.
She looked like she walked right off the comic book. And come on, James Jonah Jameson. Okay. He walked right off the freaking comic book.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
That was what was the actor's name?
Oh gosh, people are screaming at us right now.
I know they are screaming. They're screaming at their radios or however they're listening.
Radios,
right?
God, you're old.
I am old. Look, my phone is Bluetoothed into my car, so you know.
Radio. Next thing is you're going to be saying is they're put on the record player.
Right. Hey, we've got LPs are back. They're back, baby.
Yeah, well, we ain't on vinyl. We don't have that kind of money.
Right. Oh my goodness. Right.
Anyway.
So with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man series, I will agree that they did like right off the page. It was really good. That first one. Good. The first one, and even the second one. Even the second one with Doc Ock was really good.
He looked perfect. He looked just like the comic book. So I really love those first two Spider-Man films. I think they're great. I really do. I could watch them again over and over again.
They were good. The third one, I get what they were trying to do with the third one, because they were trying to show how Venom, the symbiote, and we'll talk about Venom. We need to talk about Venom. If we can't talk Spider-Man without talking about Venom.
Oh, Venom's one of my favorites.
Do you know, I think I still have Secret Wars #8.
Nice.
I think I do. Where the symbiote gets introduced.
Oh, wow.
I think I do.
You got a first printing of that?
I think I do. Actually.
Oh my gosh, that's worth big bucks.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, hey, I need some.
Are you
money.
kidding? You might be able to make it off of that one.
I don't know if I do. I have to go look. I'll go look.
I think that's worth pretty big bucks, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. That's because that's the first.
It's like right at the end of the comic, right at the end.
But it's the first appearance.
Because he's sitting there going. Peter Parker goes in. Oh, how did you get your suit fixed or something like that? Oh, there's a machine over there that fixes it all. So assuming he goes to the right machine, which I don't think he does, he goes to another one, little thing, and then all of a sudden he gets the black suit, or it's just a little ball, and that's all. That's it. Boom. That's it's right at the
I don't
end
think
of the
I've
comic.
ever read Secret Wars. I don't think I've ever read it. I need
really?
to. Yeah. Yeah.
So Venom, they were trying to do it with Venom. They were trying to give how it began to change his character, and change the nature of Peter Parker. And I think that's what they were trying to do, even though it was kind of weird. It was kind of cringy how they did it in that third one. But I agree. I do like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies as a whole.
Right.
The first one, the second one, kind of thing. So yeah, I did enjoy those.
And there were aspects of the third one that were still pretty good. I was excited because Venom was going to be introduced, and I'm a big Venom fan. Venom is one of my favorites. So I was excited about that. I liked the Sandman story. I thought the story was good. But
it's a good actor who did it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm not.
Actor.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm not dogging on any of the actors.
It was just I think it's the same thing.
Now, okay. I'll slightly dog on an actor, because we had what's his face play Venom. Gosh, why can't I think of his name?
Topher Grace.
Yeah, Topher Grace. Now,
that was a weird casting.
Don't get me wrong. I think Topher's a good actor. I like him.
He's a good actor. He's funny.
But I think he was the wrong choice for Eddie Brock. That just it didn't. It was it didn't work choice for me. It didn't work for me.
Right.
He's not the bully type. Eddie Brock's a little. I mean, Eddie wasn't totally a bully, but he somewhat plays the bully. He's big and strong and everything, and I don't get that with Topher Grace. It's like, well, he kind of looks like Peter Parker.
Right. Right.
The little nerdy guy. So you got the little nerdy guy picking on the other little nerdy guy. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Somehow that doesn't work.
Yeah, I will say this, though. I think the third movie was probably the first instance in the film superhero genre where you try to introduce too many villains into a story.
Yeah.
And I think that's what killed that third movie. I think that's what it was like. Oh my goodness, there's all this stuff. You got Venom, which you should have done a whole movie on Venom. I mean, later on, of course, we do get a whole one with
which
him,
is great.
which is really good. We'll come back to that.
No, I'm going with great on that one. I love that.
I said we'll come back and discuss more on
that. No,
that's
fine.
Finish this line of thought. So but it was the first instance where there's too many. There's just too many villains you're introducing and you're convoluting the story. There's too much to keep up with. And Sandman's
no, I was just saying Sandman.
Yeah, Sandman. Yeah. Oh yeah, thanks. So yeah, his story could have been a really good story if it was just him.
Right.
But then they throw in, okay, so spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, kind of thing, is
if you haven't seen it, just skip it.
Right. Green Goblin gets killed. And so then that's when the new Goblin comes into play for the third movie.
Hobgoblin.
Yeah. And that was with Osborn's
son.
Norm Osborn was Green Goblin. Then his son,
Harry
Osborn, became, did they say Hobgoblin or New Green Goblin, or did they say a name at all? I don't know if they did.
I don't remember. It's been a while. But I know in the comic books you have Hobgoblin comes after Green Goblin. So, yes. I mean, to me, in my comic book geeky brain, I think it has to be Hobgoblin, so we'll go with Hobgoblin. We could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe he just took on the mantle of Green Goblin again too.
Right.
But regardless,
it was good. But again, another villain.
Right.
I mean, it was like, oh my goodness, and then you got the normal stuff that, Peter Parker was going through. So I think that's really I think that was probably the first movie we got to see where they introduced too many bad guys or too much, and it convoluted the story.
Well, the other flaw with that movie is the fact that they take Sandman and they actually make him as the guy who kills Uncle Ben. And I didn't care for that. I
didn't care for that either. I agree with you. I forgot about that. I was like, what?
I think Sandman already had a decent story to begin with.
Right.
But then you made him the bad guy that actually kills Uncle Ben. I prefer Uncle Ben's killer to be somebody unknown. We don't know. Kind of like with the original origin of Batman and the fact that the Waynes were killed pretty much by an unknown. I know in the
street thug.
Right, by a street thug. Like a nobody, a nobody. Mm-hmm. And I know in the 89 Batman, they actually tied it back to Joker, and it worked okay with that movie. It was
okay.
It was fine for that movie.
Do you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
I always ask that of all my prayers. Yes, yeah. We're not doing Batman. We're not doing Batman. As much as I love Batman. Sorry,
my bad. Yeah.
We're doing Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
So anyway, that's the other aspect of that film I didn't like. I didn't like that they tied that back. I would have preferred they just kept him unknown, and that's just it. So yeah, I like the first series, the original series with Tobey Maguire. I just don't care for 3. 3 is not. It was a huge disappointment. Let's put it that way, because I went into that so excited because it was Venom. Venom's a favorite. I love the whole symbiote suit and how it grows on him and all that stuff. And I like the character Venom. I love the whole double mind aspect. I think that's fantastic. And I don't even remember if they did that very well, honestly. Now they did it great in the new movie. And the new movie is fantastic. It was so good.
So Bane becomes Venom.
Oh God, we're going back to Batman again.
Sorry, my bad. So
what is this? The 7 Degrees of Batman?
I know, something like that.
Sorry, Spider-Man.
Sorry about that. So with that, who is that actor? I can't think of his name all of a sudden. He actually
Tom Hardy.
A decent actor. Tom Hardy. He actually is a decent actor.
Oh yeah, he's a good actor.
And all. And so he I liked this one.
Oh gosh.
I know. Wasn't there a struggle about what that was going to be rated? Wasn't there a struggle about
wasn't the final rating R?
I think so, and that was a big deal because
I think it deserved.
I think there's a big push. Yeah, I think they were like, oh, it's got to be PG-13 or for that, but people were like, no, it's Venom. It needs to be R.
Right. Yeah, which I agree with that aspect of it. Venom is he's a very violent character, and if you want to portray Venom correctly, then yeah, I think you need an R rating. And let's face it, Venom is not a character for kids. He really isn't. I know they've done cartoons of him.
Right, but not compared to what's in the comics.
No,
and even then, that was pushing the envelope then. I mean, today, oh my gosh, the things they push the envelope with today would have gotten banned by the comic code thing in our day.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we just dated ourselves. What's the comic code?
Wow.
What's that?
Oh, well, we could do a whole podcast on the comic code. there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down on the comic
There's
code.
a lot. Yes, that is correct. So, Venom.
Does the comic code even exist today?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. Now, when I get done with this podcast, I'm going to go look at my comics.
Right. I don't think it does. Or let me rephrase that. It probably still does, but people, do they follow it or not? And it's like,
so you're saying it's like, if it still exists, it's more like a tradition. Is that what you're saying? I don't know. That's
or
interesting.
we'll put it on little kids' comics so parents feel okay about it. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Okay, I'm not even going to go off on that.
We haven't researched it yet. Okay, so let's continue on. So Venom, yes, was that character. And then we get from Venom. Oh, no, let's finish with the movie and then I'll go next because it will lead into the next character I want to talk about in the Spideyverse. So the Venom, the movie, I thought was well done. I really did. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't for sure. And it was a pleasant surprise. It had some good funny moments in it. Especially at the end. I've got a parasite, I
got kind of criticized because I said that's actually my favorite Marvel movie.
Oh, really?
And people are like, how can you say that's your favorite Marvel movie? Well, because I like Venom. That's why I say it's my favorite Marvel movie. And
it is not my favorite Marvel movie,
and that's okay.
It was an enjoyable movie. Yeah. See, we can disagree. You have your opinion. I have my opinion. Just because you're wrong and I'm right, No, I'm just teasing. So what happened? So you said it was your favorite movie, and they were like, "Well, how could it be?" So what happened in that conversation?
Oh, there are a lot of people that are like, "Well, it's a good movie, but it's not the best Marvel movie," and I'm like, "No, for me, it's the best Marvel movie for me." Now, part of that was me trolling. Because I knew people were going to be like, "Are you insane?" Yeah, well, yeah, slightly. I am slightly crazy. But no, I do. I think it's my favorite. Now I'd probably go the first Captain America movie after that.
The first Avenger?
Yes.
That is a good one.
I really like that movie. And then I have to go back to Iron Man after that.
The first Iron Man.
Yeah. So, if I was going to rank the Marvel films, I put Venom on top.
Wait, stop.
Oh. Well,
that'll be another podcast.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can do that.
No, finish your thought. Finish your thought. And
I was just going to say I would put Venom on top, and then probably First Avenger, and then probably Iron Man after that.
Okay. Let me hurry up and make a note of that on our on our plan page.
Wait. Oh, okay. I thought you were making a note of
top 5 Marvel movies.
Nice. Okay.
All right, that's upcoming, everybody. You heard it here first.
Oh shoot, we might have to have Theron on for that one because Theron likes to be involved in fact, he's probably
because we already know his is going to be Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3.
All Iron Man
4, Iron Man.
No, wait
5.
a minute. He likes Spider-Man too. He likes in fact,
I know.
He might get upset that we didn't have him on for Spider-Man, but yeah,
that's true. Well, yeah. Well, I shouldn't be giving him a hard time if he's not here. So that's not fair.
That's true. He can't defend himself.
Right. Okay, so Venom, good movie. part of your top 5
Oh, definitely.
for Marvel movies. And he is a violent character. I do have that old series. I don't know if I have the whole series or maybe the first 3, but Lethal Protector. That was his first branch out, I think, when they did a mini series of just him before anything else. I liked it because it had a shiny red cover for the first episode, for the first issue. And I was like, I read it and I was like, dude, he's violent. Kind of a thing. I
just picture you going into the comic book store. Oh, shiny cover.
Shiny. Well, that is true. So
I'm going in going, wow, Venom looks badass. And you're over there, shiny cover.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Oh, man.
So, in relation to that, one of the things it got introduced to was, I have the beginnings of the Spider-Man series, comic book series, Maximum Carnage.
Nice.
And, it went beyond the whole thing of, how shall I say? That was violent. That took it up another notch, and I couldn't finish it. I was at that stage where I was like, if you're just killing to kill people, or just all this massive slaughtering, it actually took me out of the story because it was so unrealistic, and I didn't feel like it was. Yes, some people say, well, that's his Carnage's character.
I was going to say it is called Maximum Carnage.
Yeah. I know. But it was so over the top that it just didn't. It just took me out. It was like, wait a minute. I can understand if you've got violence or carnage as part of a story, but it was almost like it was taking over the story. You were using all this violence beyond the story just to have it. And I didn't finish it. I didn't finish the series. So
I had the series. I remember playing the Nintendo video game because Nintendo had I think, was it Super Nintendo at that time? I don't remember if it was Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I think it was Super Nintendo. I know what you're talking about. I think it was Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Super Nintendo, and I had the Maximum Carnage.
We're dating ourselves again.
Yeah, but that's where my video game area is. I'm not a gamer today, but back then I used to play those games. I loved those games.
Says the guy who has the Insomniac Spider-Man picture on his green screen wall.
But I just picked a cool picture of Spider-Man. I actually didn't know that was
a great picture. It is a great picture of Spider-Man. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Spidey's pretty much cool no matter what. So
there you go.
Whether it's a video game, whether it's a comic book, cartoon, movie, whatever, it's Spider-Man, and he is freaking cool. So whatever.
But anyway, video games, Super Nintendo. Venom Carnage.
Oh, yeah, I had the Venom Carnage Super Nintendo video game, man. I played the daylights out of that game. I loved it. So, that Maximum Carnage is kind of interesting because you had the comic book series, you had a video game. I wonder if they put out a soundtrack for that. Because, if you go back to Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, I mean, Shadows of the Empire was almost a movie without a movie. Because you had the book come out of Shadows, you had audio book come out, you had a video game come out of it, you had action figures come out. Maximum Carnage had action figures too. I don't think I ever bought any of those, but so they even had action figures. And then Shadows even went as far, and of course that could be the difference between Lucasfilm at that time and Marvel. And Marvel wasn't as big an entity as they are today, of course, since now they're owned by Disney, which also owns Lucasfilm,
Right.
But yeah, Lucasfilms had even put out a soundtrack for Shadows of the Empire, which is actually a pretty darn good soundtrack, by the way. So I need to look and see if there's a soundtrack for Maximum Carnage. That'd be kind of cool if there was. I could see some heavy metal bands on that. That'd be kind of neat, you know.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's on Spotify.
Somebody should make one up.
Right.
If you're a listener out there and you're into Maximum Carnage, put together a playlist and give us a Maximum Carnage soundtrack. I'd like to hear that. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be neat.
Well, I did like at the end of the movie, Venom movie, Eddie Brock goes in to talk to this guy, and lo and behold, we see Woody Harrelson.
Oh yes,
with the red hair.
Oh gosh, that was the only thing bad about it was that was such a bad wig. It was a terrible wig.
It was a bad wig.
But why did you put Ronald McDonald hair on him?
Right, because that's what it looks like in the comics.
It does. Well, I don't care what it looks like in the comics. It looked bad on film.
It did. But there he goes. There's gonna be carnage.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
But I gotta admit, casting Woody Harrelson and I don't remember what Carnage's real name is. I can't remember what his real name is. But casting him as Carnage, that's freaking genius.
Right?
He's gonna be fantastic. He really is.
Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Cletus Cassidy.
Cletus Cassidy. Thank you, Google.
And he kind of looks like a Cletus Cassidy. I mean, yeah. Oh my gosh. And this is coming from somebody who went through a long period of I hate Woody Harrelson.
Right.
I used to have a rule. I didn't go see Woody Harrelson films. I have become somewhat of a Woody Harrelson fan. So when I saw that they, that he was in the movie, that he was going to be Carnage, I actually was very excited. I think
he'll do it. He'll do it well.
Yeah.
He'll do it well. I don't know much. I don't know much about the new movie coming out. That's all I know.
I haven't heard a lot
references.
Yet.
Yeah, I don't even know when the release date is.
I want to say it's like fall or winter this year. Is what I believe. Of course, with COVID, all dates have been changing, so it's hard to say.
Right.
I'm hoping
the
we
name
get
is
fall.
Let There Be Carnage.
Great name.
September 24th, 2021.
Ooh.
Guess who the director is?
I don't know who.
Andy Serkis, the Precious.
Oh, really?
That guy, and who played Snoke? Who did Snoke?
Oh, wait. That does make sense though, because I'm sure his company, because he owns the company that's doing all of those effects now. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. It should be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love Venom, so yeah, I think Carnage will be excellent. That'll be great.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it'll be interesting.
So we discussed the Tobey Maguire series. So how about Andrew Garfield?
I enjoyed it. I thought Andrew Garfield's iteration of Spider-Man was more of the mouthy Spider-Man, the talkative Spider-Man, than it's still not quite there, but almost got there where it's just like, man, that is Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's more of the
comebacks and stuff.
The little bit slightly older Peter Parker after he's been Spider-Man for a while. I mean, I know they didn't really portray it that way in the film exactly, because he's still kind of the young kid, but just his antics and his
he'd been
his
at
whips
it for a couple of years. For a couple of years,
right?
And stuff. Yeah.
So
I'm glad they didn't retell the story. I really do not want another origin story. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree. I'm so.
If they reboot, go later. Don't go back to radioactive spider bite.
Yeah, I do not need to see the origin of Spider-Man again. And as much as I love Batman, I don't need to see the origin of Batman. We all know the origins of both these characters. No. Wait till after I've passed away, and then you can retell it. I don't care.
Well, I like the aspect of. I mean, I don't mind if you do a flashback. Fine.
Well, yeah, a flashback is okay.
Like when the way they did Justice League, I thought was great.
We don't need an entire 2-hour story on the origins of either one of these characters again, though.
That's correct. We don't.
Everybody knows the origins of these characters. So, and when I say these characters, I am specifically referring to Spider-Man and Batman. Those are the two that I'm referring to.
Let's clarify. Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yes. Well,
is what we're talking about.
Yeah, you got a good point there. You got a very good point, because we have some new Spider-Mans now. Or, well, I say new, but they're not. To the comic book world, they're not new at all. They've been around for many years, actually. But like for instance, well, okay, let's finish talking about Andrew, and then we'll get into Miles Morales. And,
okay, yeah, sounds good.
The Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, I enjoy it. I think, and a lot of those movies take some hate too. They really do. I thought the first one was. I really thought the first one was really good. I liked it.
That was the lizard with the lizard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was my favorite villain when I was a kid.
I like that villain. I think that's a good villain.
They did it well. I thought they did that villain justice.
Yeah.
Because you got his backstory, you got his motivation, you got to see him, how you could sympathize and understand why he became the villain he became.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
And I thought they did a really good job with that. That was good villain development.
Right.
You know, for lack of a better term.
I think he fit the character really well. I think he was a good interpretation from the comic book, honestly.
Yes, he was.
Electro was not. Electro was terrible.
And I was really hoping, I mean, I like Jamie Foxx.
Oh, nothing against Jamie Foxx.
I think he's a great actor, and I really enjoyed him in Django Unchained.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And I'm not a Tarantino fan.
Yeah, me neither.
I know. But that being said, with what he had to work with, I was like, I think he overacted the beginning, the before he became Electro, that character. I think he overacted that a little bit. But when it came to becoming Electro, I'm like, okay, he did okay. But it's still, I don't think it was justice to the comic book character as we know it.
Right.
And that's okay. It's a film. I understand you want to change stuff. But I think it made the film...
I don't know.
It made it more campy.
Yeah.
You know how...
Right.
You know how Batman Forever really... again, too many villains, kind of a story. Too many villains introduced.
Oh gosh.
And it made it.
Wait a
more
minute.
campy.
What movie did you say?
Batman Forever.
Never heard of
it. So going back to, I think Electro, it made it a little campy. I don't know. It just didn't. There was something about it that didn't seem to fit.
Yeah,
kind of a thing.
I agree. Because the first film made Spider-Man more realistic, and did not make it cartoony. Where this one, I agree with you. The second one, it
made it more cartoony.
Now, I will have to say, I really enjoy Amazing Spider-Man, the first one with Andrew Garfield. But what I don't like, I didn't like the storyline with his parents. I didn't like this whole spy
something behind the scenes.
Yeah, I didn't like that. And has that ever been?
I did.
You did? I didn't care for that.
Because it gave I always like spy stuff. You know me. I love spy. Behind the scenes and stuff. So maybe that's part of it. But it gave, and I do like the actor that played his dad. I've seen him in several stuff. I think I liked him in what was that?
But is that storyline ever existed in the comic books?
I do not know. I don't
see. I don't think it ever has.
They were working on a project, and then that's what he was really working for Osborn, and then figured out this sequence, and then that's what helped with the lizard thing.
Right.
I get it. I get what they were doing with it for story wise. But yeah, like he had his whole. here's my secret subway car, or, or something like that.
Oh, gosh.
I was like, I don't know.
See,
kind of thing. But
I didn't.
But it's
like
okay.
that.
I mean, I'm sure where you're coming from, but I get it. You're trying to do.
That's the only thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
I was just saying sometimes comic book stories are good on print, but not on film.
Sure. Good point.
And I think they were trying to, okay, how can we make connections or bring a little bit more intrigue? Or, one of the things about directors and filmmaking is they're always trying to do something new, put their stamp on it.
Sure.
You know how when you watch, what's the show? What's it's the singing competition. I can't even think of it. American Idol.
Okay.
And one of the things when the judges, they always say, I like how you put your spin on it, kind of a thing. I get that if that's what some people want, kind of a thing. But here's where I think it applies in movies. Sometimes directors want to put their spin on it or put their stamp on it because it's them. It becomes more about them of what they can do to the story rather than letting the story speak for itself.
Right.
And when you have a story that does great in comics and you're trying to bring it to film, the issue I don't think is what can I add to the story? What can I change in the story? I believe they should be focusing on how can I really take this story that is already there and highlight it for the screen.
Right. Because you already have a proven established character. A well-loved, proven, established character.
I think the term that needs to highlight is say proven.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
Proven.
So you have a proven character. You don't need to come in and improve on a character that's already a proven character.
No.
There's no need for that.
You're correct.
There's no need for that. Now, you can slightly put your spin on it. I get that. That's okay. But when you start going in and completely changing a character just because you're like, well, I want to make it, this because, this is going on today. I think I disagree with that. I totally disagree.
I think you lose people in that. Correct.
Right. You already have a storyline that worked.
Mm-hmm.
And you're building off that, use that storyline. It's already proven.
It's already proven.
Right.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Let's go. Okay. Let's take it from a positive standpoint. Sam Raimi, when he did the one with Doc Ock, and remember, Sam Raimi is known for his horror. I mean, he is a good horror director. I was surprised that they had him for that. But there was the one scene where for Doc Ock, they're in the hospital or something, and the arms have infused on him or something. They're trying to help him, and all of a sudden, the arms come alive and start killing people.
Yeah,
kind of a thing.
Oh yeah,
that was intense. That is Sam Raimi's stamp on an already existing story. Right. He didn't change the story, but he gave it his flair,
and that worked. That worked with Doc Ock because
it really did.
They've had comic stories where Doc Ock's arms have done similar things. So, I mean, he didn't really change anything. No,
he didn't.
He just, like you said, he put a stamp on it, but he didn't change it. Which I like. So that's the aspect of the first Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man that I didn't care for, was changing, or well, not even changing, because we really didn't know anything about Parker's parents to begin with. I don't think there's been a whole lot in the comic books.
There hasn't been. You're right.
His parents remain pretty
nebulous. You don't know what the story is. You don't. Yeah.
Right.
It has always been a mystery.
And the funny thing is, I never really cared. I don't know. I don't know if that's bad or not, but
no, because the connection was never with the parents. The parents were gone, and the connection was with Ben and Aunt May,
right?
Uncle Ben and Aunt May, and then the loss of Uncle Ben is what propelled him,
right?
And
that's probably why I feel more of a connection with Aunt May and Uncle Ben than I don't really care about Peter's parents. So
well, it was Uncle Ben who gave the greatest line that gets continued.
That's right,
even to this day.
That's right. With great power comes great responsibility. Yep, you're absolutely right. One of the greatest comic book lines ever.
Yep.
Kudos to
that was Stan Lee, right?
Yeah, I believe that was Stan Lee that wrote that. I'm pretty sure it was Stan Lee. Kudos to Stan on that one. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I will. So just in the aspect of how directors can change stuff from the comics or why they should or shouldn't, you know, I do have issues with, you know, sometimes we get indie films that get posted on the whatever for Oscars, or not necessarily Oscars, but people are like, oh yeah, this is such a great movie. And I've watched some of them and they're like, oh yeah, this is the director's vision and everything that he wants. You know, this is in the realm of what some would say artsy fartsy, because you sit there and watch it. People are, oh, it's a great film. I'm like, that sucked, you know, kind of a thing, you know, and I think that's the problem is people, I think directors want to talk about who they are. There are some directors who want to talk about who they are as a director in rather than just letting the story speak for itself.
I agree. Yep.
And I think that can happen, you know, in some of the superhero movies, the ones that really focus on story and keep it on story. Well, that's Pixar. Pixar is really big. Story is number one. Story is number one.
Story should be number one.
It should be. And so I get what you're saying about, you know, the whole backstory of Peter's parents and all that, and trying to bring that in. And I do think that someone saying, "Ooh, I'm going to make this story different. I'm going to be the one that changes. I'm going to introduce this." I'm like, no, just let the story be. You've got a fan base who's already there to watch their story come off the printed page onto the visual screen.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I mean, how many times have we've seen they're going to introduce a certain character, a certain comic book character that we've been waiting years and years for, you know? Dead.
Sorry.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, that Deadpool in what was it, Wolverine? I forget where. That was terrible.
We watched an old Ryan Reynolds film late last night because we were watching some documentaries. We love documentaries, but sometimes those murder mystery documentaries, you just got to watch something lighthearted afterwards. So we watched this old movie on HBO Max called Waiting. And
I don't know
it's a Ryan Reynolds film about these college age kids who are all working at a Shenanigans. Remember Shenanigans? It's kind of like you know, from Office Space. Where's your flair?
Oh, okay.
Or you know, like we would have Applebee's today, you know, but what it would have been 20 years ago.
Okay, all right.
And Ryan Reynolds acting in that. Kelly, you know, my wife looks there and she goes, huh? There's the beginning of Deadpool right there. All right, so back to Spider-Man. Sorry, we're still in the Marvel world, but let's go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So you are correct. I do agree with you. The aspect of, you know, we're talking about people that we want to see for a long period of time,
right?
And don't mess with it yet. If you want to mess with it later. But if you're first introducing a character or bringing back a character or something, you know, I think with Amazing Spider-Man, I did like Andrew Garfield. I did. I liked him. I liked the chemistry between him and Emma Stone in that film.
Yeah, and I liked that we went, instead of having MJ, we went with
Gwen Stacy.
I really liked it because Gwen Stacy is a character that, you know, a lot of people didn't know about. And she was a character in the comic books, and she's a tragic story in Peter Parker's life, you know. So I like that they went with the Gwen Stacy storyline. I thought that was cool.
Yep.
Nice, good alternative choice.
Agreed. So the other thing about these new storylines, and I think one of the things that we really appreciate is if you're going to change Spider-Man, create a new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In other words, you know, if you want to bring in a different type of Spider-Man, create a whole new character. And you already brought up. Go ahead.
Are we going to get into Tom Holland at all?
Who? No, I'm just messing with you. Okay, yeah, Tom Holland. Okay. All right, fair enough.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
See, now I like Tom Holland a lot. I think he's really, really good. I feel he's an even younger Spider-Man, which is kind of good. That's cool.
It was good, and it brought up he was the full mouthy interactive during a fight Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Yeah, he has been fun with that. I agree.
He has been. And that
Really
to
good.
me is the truest character development character wise, the truest to the printed page comics of Spider-Man has been the Tom Holland iteration or the Tom Holland years, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
Because I'll never forget one of my favorite Marvel movies is Civil War. And the whole sequence where they introduce Spider-Man, it's like, oh, it's Spider-Man, kind of a thing. And he that whole thing where he's talking to Falcon and Winter Soldier the whole time, in battling with us, like, dude, that thing denies the laws of physics, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And just the interactions, like, dude, you got a metal arm, kind of a thing. But,
he fanboys. He fanboys.
He does. And when he sits there and goes, he is taking it from, here's Spider-Man who's meeting all these characters for the first time.
Right.
And you got to see you got a metal arm, or all this kind of stuff. And he was geeking out science wise with him and that kind of a thing. Is it, do you talk this much? Kind of a thing. It's like, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Kind of a thing. So with Tom Holland, yes, I do. He is a good Spider-Man. Yes.
And I liked the Iron Man mentor storyline. I think that's great. Having Tony Stark come in and mentor Peter Parker. I don't care for Tony Stark flirting with Aunt May. I think that's wrong. That bothers me. Stop it. No,
just for comedy, and it was like I was like, that's misplaced comedy.
Well, yeah, but for one thing, okay. Don't take this wrong, but in the new Spider-Mans with Tom Holland, they make Aunt May kind of hot. And that's I have an issue with that altogether. It's like, no, she's not. No, stop it. I don't like that. Right. And then you got Tony Stark coming in, because Tony Stark would have never hit on the Aunt May of the comic books. Never. It wouldn't even been a thought. Right. So I don't know. That's kind of icky to me. It's like, stop it. No, don't do that. Don't do that. So that's an aspect I don't like. But other than that, I really like the Tom Holland interpretation. I think he's done a great job. Fantastic Spider-Man. Good job.
I think he has done. I do think he has done well. I was trying to think of what it was that I didn't like about some of the Tom Holland stuff.
Well, I can tell you one thing I don't like. I don't like MJ. I don't like MJ at all. Not the new MJ. I don't like her. I don't think she's a good interpretation of Mary Jane. I like MJ in the Tobey Maguire series.
Okay, right.
I like her way better.
Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was good interaction. This one, it was almost like they were trying to set it up. He liked this one girl who ended up being, speaking of someone else who crossed the streams, Michael Keaton as Vulture.
Oh, yeah. He did a great job.
He did a great job.
Hence, one of the reasons that Michael Keaton to this day is still one of my all-time favorite actors.
Right?
He is awesome.
He is.
And he is Batman.
Those are fighting words. We'll get back to that later.
I'm Batman.
It's Spider-Man. We're talking about Spider-Man.
Sorry.
Keep it real. No, I liked how they introduced her in the first movie, because it was like they were kind of trying to throw you off on who was who. And I'm like, I get that. Okay, that's fine. You can, all right, whatever.
I just don't like this interpretation of her.
It still remains to be seen what they're going to do. I'm not. They haven't fully fleshed out.
We're going into the third movie.
I know, that's my point. I mean, they're.
If it takes you 3 movies to flesh out a character, the character's bad. I'm sorry.
All right. I'll give you that. Okay.
And we're going into the third Spider-Man movie. And yeah, and you're saying that they just haven't fleshed her out. Okay, well, it's time to get rid of her then. Sorry.
Or finally flesh her out.
I am being really harsh on her. I don't like that character. And again, nothing against the actress.
The actress.
I have nothing against the actress. I just don't like the character. I don't feel that she embodies MJ. And maybe it's because it's a younger version of MJ, and I'm not used to that version. I'm used to the one that, that Peter Parker falls in love with in the comics, and she's the hot model and all that stuff, and maybe that's why. I don't know. I just don't like this interpretation of her. I don't think it embodies the character of Mary Jane. I think, honestly, they should have, if they were going to do this, they should have created a different character. And this goes back into what we were talking about earlier, what we started to, and I kind of diverged you off of it to get into the Tom Holland. But I don't think that you should recreate a character. Just
don't change an existing character. Don't change it because you want to introduce something. Just create a new character,
right?
And that's okay.
So yeah, if you wanted to give Peter Parker a new love interest, and that's totally different than MJ, all right, that's fine. I probably could have accepted her more if they would not have said that she was MJ. Yeah. So that's my dislike about the new Spider-Mans. That's it.
Okay. Well, so real quick, this will have to be the last part of we're just flying through. We're Spider-Man.
And it's such a big subject too.
It's a big subject. So there's two other Spider-Man I want to talk about that do exactly that, where they created a new Spider-Man character.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned Miles Morales. So let's talk about Miles Morales.
Yes.
Film-wise, I didn't know his story. To be open, I didn't know his story. I knew who he was, Miles Morales, and I heard he was an awesome Spider-Man and stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. I hadn't read any of the comics and stuff. Yeah. And just, it's just stage in life. I don't get everything anymore, kind of a thing.
But I've been kind of out of the Spider-Man universe, other than the movies, of course. Excuse me. But as far as the comic books, I've been really out of it for a long time. So I had no idea. I mean, I knew about Spider-Man 2099. I don't really know the ins and outs of the character, but I knew about him. The Miles Morales Spider-Man, I knew nothing of. So going into this, I was completely clueless. I had no clue. And I got to say, I loved this character. I thought he was fantastic. Such a good, different, alternative version of Spider-Man, and I love it because it was okay. We want to change Spider-Man, but we didn't change Spider-Man. It was great because we got a new Spider-Man, but we didn't change Peter Parker. Peter Parker remained Peter Parker. And that's what I want. I like Peter Parker the way he is. I don't need him changed. But if you want to create a new version, and that's what they did, and they gave us Miles Morales, fantastic. Such a good story. Excellent job.
When I saw Into the Spider-Verse, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
And you know me, I'm not a multiverse guy.
Yeah, boy, this is multiverse for sure.
And it was total multiverse, yeah. And I loved the character. I loved how he had his own backstory. He had his own culture. He had his own history.
Yep.
And
he didn't even know who Peter Parker was.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
That was kind of cool.
And, So, yes, it was a multiverse story, but it was good. And for me, it was a good introduction to Miles Morales, who had already been created and stuff. And I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I thought it was really good. And that speaks to, another one of who they changed was Spider-Man 2099. Now,
yeah, see, I don't know a lot about Spider-Man 2099.
When the 2099 series came out, I think when the first run happened, I got a couple of issues of each one. There was like Doom 2099, but the one I was most interested in was Spider-Man 2099. And I still have I still have those first issues.
Cool.
I think I had up to 10 or 12, and then I got ones here or there. That was the time I started. I wasn't as collecting hardly anything at all.
Sure.
And it wasn't because of 2099. I loved 2099. In fact, that was what I was trying to collect that year. Was 2099. I couldn't wait for the next episode. And 2099 obviously takes place, year 2099 kind of a thing. But I loved how they created a whole new story. And it's this guy by the name of Miguel. And Miguel is
hey, great name, by the way, Miguel.
Miguel.
That's the Spanish version of my name.
Mike.
My nephew's middle name is Miguel.
Is it?
Yes.
Very cool. I didn't realize that about him. Yeah. So in that it's Miguel O'Hara. So his mom is Mexican and his dad is Irish. Is kind of how this.
That's awesome.
Which is great.
I love it.
Which is great. The whole cultural interactions and how, one thing I love about America is we're a melting pot. It's, that's the whole point. But anyway.
So wait a minute. Does he like tequila or whiskey?
Right. Good call. I don't know. I'm going to have to look at that. So with that, I liked, was he a chemist? He was an engineer or something working at this place called Alchemex. And of course, that's the evil corporation like Osborne.
Right.
It's the replacement to Osborne Industries. And, and then he becomes Spider-Man. I mean, he's got claws that are in his fingertips. He's got the spider sense and stuff. And actually his costume comes from kind of like a Day of the Dead. He repurposed a Day of the Dead costume.
He does have a cool costume.
He does. And for those, if you want to watch the video, go to our Ko-fi page. We'll have it up eventually at some point. But that's what the picture of is I have 2099 behind me.
Nice.
And that's why I liked Into the Spider-Verse at the very end. They introduced 2099. Which is pretty cool. So as a end credits, is it an end credit, mid credits, end credit scene? So I enjoyed him as a character. They introduced all kinds of different characters. Some they tried to port over from the past to the future, kind of a thing, or that style. But it was really good. It was intriguing. Once again, it's another Spider-Man character. It's not Peter Parker 100 years from now, or whatever. I guess technically it'd be 80 years from now.
Or Peter Parker gender swapped, or Peter Parker a different race, or Peter
right,
Parker.
and
Peter Parker is actually a spider, or Peter.
Right, or a pig.
Yeah. Well, we did have that Into the Spider-Verse.
Right. I mean, we've got
was it Porky Piper or Porky Parker or something like that, or
something like that? Yeah, so. Yeah. But the thing is I'm not opposed to any of these. A female being Spider-Man, we get that. Into the Spider-Verse. I don't have any issues with that.
Yeah, we got Gwen. We got Spider Gwen, didn't we?
Spider-Gwen, yeah, something like that.
Which is a neat take on,
It's a great take on it.
But again,
that's my point.
Again, that's not just taking
a whole new character. You're just not changing who we already have. Create a new character and do the work, because it will pay off.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So,
yeah, Gwen Stacy was cool to give her a spider capabilities. Because again, that wasn't taking Peter Parker and just changing him into a girl. You did take an existing character, but you just gave her abilities and stuff. So, but you didn't change her all that. They didn't change her all that much. They just gave her the abilities. That's all.
Right.
So,
and she was pretty cool too. She was. She was.
Yeah, she was a good character. I liked her.
She was. So, just for me, I think. With the different iterations that we've got of Spider-Man, with the different, types that we've gotten, I think one of the things they've done is we don't need to change the character, but let's create a new character. Miles Morales was great.
Oh, fantastic.
Miguel O'Hara is great. And you don't have to, I guess, I don't know why I'm hung up on this for some reason. I think probably some other stuff that's in the news or whatever, but I think it's the issue of history has shown that the fans don't want you to change their existing characters. And I think that's how we got on it to the movies. And, talking about the third Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, changing the Venom, the way Venom was changing him and the way they did that. It's like, okay, that's kind of hokey. Why are you changing the character?
Right.
And there's no need to change these characters. And I know culture changes. I get that. I'm okay with that. But create new characters. Don't change an established character that already has a history and already has a framework. And this may be a good discussion point on as we talk about different characters, because I know there's some other characters that we want to bring up and talk about. Like, I would love to talk about Constantine.
Oh yeah,
and all. So just bring out who they are already. And if you want to introduce something different from a new cultural perspective, introduce a new character.
Right. I agree.
And all. And you will find that it will fit within the universe so much more better. I do that all the time. But and I think through that would be just an incredible addition to the universe. Don't change the universe, add to the universe.
Well, and look how well the Miles character interacted with the Peter Parker character. I mean, it was
incredible.
It was great.
It gave you, if you love the story and you're real specific on what you believe about the story, what you think about the story, it heightened the story. Now, if you're in it for the feels, dude, it was brothers, mentor brothers getting together. It was just incredible. And even in the Spider-Man video game, when they introduced Miles, and then now Miles has his own part, in that as well. It's where they were working together. You're like, man, this is some cool teamwork, and one helping another, and one coming through, and it's just really it just added to the world just in an incredible way.
Well, and I liked in that movie how Peter Parker kind of got to be the Tony Stark role. Like I said, the thing I like about the Tom Holland is, you got Tom Holland, you got Peter Parker, young Peter Parker, and then you've got Tony Stark as his mentor. Well, Into the Spider-Verse, we got Peter Parker getting to play that role where he got to be the mentor to Miles Morales. And I thought that was really good.
It was very good. It was really good. All right, man. Well, whew. All right, we got through the movies, the different iterations. Wow. So there is our virtual coffee tabletop. We're going to do tabletop, virtual coffee. All right, you can tell. I think I need some more caffeine. Well, obviously, we could continue. We could do a part 2, part 3 of this. This is
oh my gosh, there's so many aspects we could go into.
There's
Spider-Man.
So much.
Yeah, he's such a big character, and he's got so much history, and heck, there's so much we could go into in the cartoons, and
even the villains. I mean, we touched on just a couple of them, but his rogue's
gallery is amazing.
It's just incredible.
Yeah,
and I still would love to see a Sinister Six. Still would love to see a Sinister Six.
Well, see, that was okay. 1 second. Let's go back to the Andrew Garfield.
One last thing. Okay, Andrew Garfield. Yeah.
So I had the same issue with the second Amazing Spider-Man that I had with Green Lantern, the Green Lantern film. Okay, so everyone hated the Green Lantern. Most everyone.
It was all right.
Yeah, I actually like it. There are problems with the film. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely problems with that film. But to me, it was the ending, and we saw Sinestro. And I was so excited about Sinestro. Okay, this is it. The Green Lantern 2, that's going to be the movie. That's it.
It's going to be great.
So with Amazing Spider-Man 2, same thing. We had the introduction to the Sinister Six. And I'm going, oh, that's going to be amazing. Yes.
Right.
And then it all just died. So yeah, that's... Yeah, same thing. Exact same thing.
Same thing.
But I don't even know what else to say after that.
Right. Well, we probably should close out. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining us for just our table talk on Spider-Man. If you have any comments, if you disagreed with us, we'd love to hear your opinion.
Sure.
Check us out on our Facebook page. That's a great way to communicate with us on there. And just let us know. Let us know your thoughts. And if there's anything you want us to cover or you think we should have in this particular episode and we didn't, let us know. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, you can shoot us an email too. We have our email address on our website. So or you can just click the little button and actually send us almost an instant message there too. So you can do it that way.
Feel free, that goes to our email as well. So Spider-Man
does whatever a spider can.
Oh my goodness, there's so many things we could talk about, but we just didn't get to today. So, but it was a good day. It was fun. It was great having this. So, Mike, thank you for chit-chatting back and forth. This was good. I appreciate it. Great idea.
All right. Well, with that said, I think we're going to close this out. And you know what? With great power comes great responsibility. Over and out, and may the force be with you. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
may the force be with you.